Angry Faithful. I just wanted to drop in, bend your ear a little bit, get your attention. So if you're not listening, drop what you're doing and pay attention to me, because I'm here to inform you that not only can you get your daily, maybe if you're binging it, I'm not sure, that's entirely up to you, but you can multiply your doses of angry me fuckery by paying attention to all of the platforms upon which you can find either the dulcet tones of my voice and David's voice, or my pretty face and David's not so pretty face. Anyways, digressing, we not only we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we're on Rumble, we're on Google, Apple Podcast. We have a TikTok page. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and of course, Facebook. So if you find yourself fuckery deprived, curl up with a nice hot mug of shut the fuck up and just listen. Open those ear holes and be prepared to be cream pied like it's the first time. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today on Nerd Sports, episode 75, we're going to talk about the great sport of World Black Pudding Throwing Championship. It's what it sounds like. They throw black pudding at Yorkshiring atop a platform.
So is that like borderline racism? Your racism?
I don't think so.
Because some woke Brit's going to be like, well, why can't they throw the white pudding?
It's Yorkshire. It's Yorkshire.
Then comes Roger Waters out off the top rope. You can't have any pudding unless you eat your meat.
Well, we already went over on.
There better be a vegan option. Where's the gluten-free?
I can't eat pudding that's made out of hooves. I can't do it. Oh my God.
No, we already went over one.
Is this soy tofu, quinoa, or what's this made out of? Oh my God!
Remember, this is the same area where they do ferret trouser.
You know what always perplexed me when I go to the grocery store? You see fat-free half and half.
Yeah, that's
half of half is milk fat. So what are you putting in there?
It's
the part of the bowl.
It's a quarter.
I think it's the part of the bowl.
But it says fat free.
It's just straight beans. See, fat free doesn't even mean fat free though.
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
All right, and what are we gonna go? Are we gonna go NFL? Because I know some.
No, we're gonna go. Since when do we ever lead off a single one of these episodes talking about football first? Have we met?
It's the only research that I do. It's the only thing I'm good at.
Okay, so right now, Aaron Judge is sitting at 59 home runs for the season. Every time he comes up to bat, everybody breaks away and they're like, "Oh God, let's watch Aaron Judge hit 60." The record is 61 in the American League. That was set by Roger Maris, coincidentally also a Yankee. Judge. Now, I will give Aaron Judge this. He was asked earlier, I think either today or yesterday, about his thoughts on Shohei Ohtani. And he's like, "I'm just out here hitting balls. Ohtani's doing it all. He deserves to be the MVP." And I'm like sitting there going, you know what? That's classy. You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, what Judge is doing is kind of like next level, kind of Leviathan's type stuff. But what I think is going to be hilarious is that if Judge sets the American League record for a single season with 62 home runs, and he eclipses Roger Maris's record as a Yankee, Aaron Judge is a free agent at the end of the year. I would think it would just be absolutely hilarious if the Steinbrenners fail to re-sign him.
Who else would be able to afford him after that, though?
Well, see, here's the thing. Aaron Judge grew up in New England. He grew up a Red Sox fan. And he was quoted, he was quoted over the weekend as saying that that the Red Sox fans know baseball and they are the best fans in the sport. And you know that pissed off the New York media.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and it
was
was funny because like after Aaron Judge started going all bonkers on the home runs during even his rookie year, there was photos that were surfacing of him growing up, decked out in all Red Sox gear. Which it.
I don't know of a picture.
I would
Slap me in the
absolutely
face, but that
love.
would be it if I was a.
I would love to see him sign with Boston. I really would. Yes, I know, because I am a Red Sox fan. That's got nothing to do with it. I just think, well, that's got something. That's partly to do with it, but the biggest part of it is, I would love to see him. See him get booed the first time he goes back to Yankee Stadium wearing a Red Sox uniform.
You know it would happen too. 100% guarantee.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because Yankees fans, for the most part, they are a classless.
Him
I mean, let's put it this way: the Yankees fan base, I put them in a ranking. I've got them. Here's Philadelphia Eagles fans, right at the top. We're talking trashiest to classiest, yes. Right? We got Eagles fans, Yankees fans, Texas Rangers fans, right? Hey, no. Wait a minute.
No.
Didn't they have
Let me finish. Now, below Texas Rangers fans, you've got the Red Sox fans, right?
Well,
Okay.
That's fair.
Now, if you wear anybody else's jersey to the lunchbox in Arlington, because let's face it, that's exactly what it looks like. If you go to the lunchbox in Arlington and you wear any other team's gear, people will humor you for about 3 innings until they get about half the liquor that the ballpark carries in their system. And then it's like, oh my God, you're by transcendental meditation. That's a look to you, George Strait. You're transported to some other ballpark where the fans get a little bit more rowdy. They're like, oh, the Rangers are going to the World Series. And like, where the fuck are you watching them from? I mean, it's like, okay,
I'll give you, the Rangers fans are delusional. I'll give you that, because it's the same as being a Cowboys fan. It's every year. It's a great.
We them boys, we going to the Super Bowl. No,
it's a great season until that first game, and then the first game happens, and your entire season is just shot from there. But I will say, as a Rangers fan, going and wearing Rangers gear to Minute Maid with the Astros.
Oh yeah, dude, it's
that's brave. I did not feel that environment at all.
Okay, so living down here, and I go to Minute Maid a lot more now because I'm like literally an hour from the ballpark. But it doesn't matter who's playing. I will always go with my Red Sox gear on, right? I've got a personalized jersey, the whole 9 yards. I get decked out, and I go. I don't care who's playing. I'm repping my squad.
Exactly.
I mean, put it this way. All right, so my wedding ring right here. All right, you see that brown band in the middle?
Yeah.
That is crushed up brick from the warning track at Fenway Park.
Nice.
Because when I proposed to my wife, I did it at Fenway Park on the field.
Yeah.
So, because Fenway Park's always been like a bucket list item for me. It's the mecca of baseball. I don't care
for sure.
You root for,
no matter what your team is at.
So when she told me that she was taking me to Boston for my birthday, I worked like literally for 3 months working with Sarah Findley from the Red Sox front office to arrange a private tour.
Thank God you didn't.
Because I told her what I wanted to do, and we get to the ballpark that morning. We're walking around, dude. I'm getting all nostalgic and all up in my emotions. I'm touching the building and I'm getting all teary-eyed. I'm like, damn ninjas, the onions.
No, what
we-
gets me, I had to
she-
edit
she-
one of the
she-
episodes because he forgot the entirety of this being a secret and everything. And
Oh my God.
I was like, Johnny, are you
No.
fucking kidding me?
Dropped the
no,
ball completely. huh?
no. If you're gonna tell the story, tell it right. Because I had to get on to you because I'm sitting there, I'm like, we're sitting there talking to each other, and I send you a message. I'm like, dude, I'm looking at you from across the table going,
It was really
so
you, man.
but I'll remember it the way I want to remember it. You get
Yeah,
it.
you can have it, and I'll do all the hard work and everything. I'll bury the fucking body. How about that?
You should be used to it by now.
I am. It's so sad.
So we get to our gate, and the woman, she meets us at the gate. She's in on it, the tour guide's in on it. Wife, obviously not a clue.
Yeah.
So you have to go through a metal detector. I've got the ring with me. I'm like, oh, fuck. So she comes around me from behind. I hand her the ring. I like pass it off, right?
Yeah.
I go through the metal detector. She goes around it. And then she comes up from behind me again. And I've got my hand back behind me. The tour guide's distracting my wife, showing her the 617 Boston Strong jersey that Johnny Gomes made up in 2013.
Yeah.
Because they've got it framed hanging on the wall. And she's like, oh, wow. And I hold my hand back, and Sarah drops the ring in my hand, and I slip it back in my pocket. Smooth, right? Completely ad-libbed. I'm just like, hell yeah. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting like, dude, I'm like getting emotional because the tour guide turns and he looks at me and he goes, all right, now's the part that you're looking forward to. Because she comes in, right? Sarah comes up to us and she's like, I just wanted to get some face-to-face time and let you know I got us 10 minutes of field access. Bro, I went from here, I'm up here, right?
Yeah.
So we walk out on the first base line, and we're walking down the ramp, right? The concourse. And he opens up the gate. And he's like, after you. Dude, I felt like Neil fucking Armstrong.
Taking that first step.
Dude, yes. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I knelt down, I touched the grass, dude. I'm just like, I'm on the field at Fenway Park,
Right.
And he's like, all right, so we had the green monster behind us. And I'm like, okay. And the tour guy goes, hey, let me see your phone. I'll take some video and some pictures. And he winks at me, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, make sure you get this. So, I hand him the phone. And he takes a couple of pictures and everything. And I looked over and I looked past her, and I saw Pesky's pole right there in right field. I said,
Yeah.
look, babe, there's Pesky's pole. And she looks and she turns to look at Pesky's pole. And that's when I get down on my knee, right?
Yeah.
She turns around and she's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right. And, I'd go through the whole thing. I had it beautifully scripted in my head. And what came out was just disjointed and
Gibberish.
cracky. Dude, it was absolute gibberish. I'm sitting there going, I
You
love
marry
you.
Marry me.
Yeah, so,
Together.
so I mean,
I won't be part of your
she
life.
says yes, obviously. I put the ring on her finger and everything like that. We're walking. I'm like, I need some of this warning tractor. And he's like, well, it's crushed brick. I said, I know. I need some anyway. He goes, well, we sell it at the gift shop. I said, I want this, right? I want this stuff,
Right,
not the
right.
stuff that you bottle up. I want
actually
stuff
walked
that's,
on.
that's on the field. I've seen it. I'm personally there.
Okay.
And yeah, so I grab a handful of it, stick it in my pocket, and like, and then I get it to my jeweler whenever we go to pick out our rings, and the designers of the rings were like, oh, that's cool. We want to do this, so I was
Yeah.
like, so I've got the one of a kind,
Trendsetter.
but
Yeah.
anyway, so getting back to baseball, the Astros clinched the American League West yesterday. The Mets, the New York Mets, are going to the playoffs. They clinched a playoff berth for the first time since like 2000, I think it was like 7
Yeah.
or something like that. So it's been a minute.
Well over a decade.
Yeah. So let me see here. Dodger news: former MVP stolen base leader Maury Wills died yesterday at the age of 89. Let me see here. I'm looking for let's see here. Aaron Judge is still sitting on 59. I was looking to see where Albert Pujols' count was, but I can't find it right now. Let me see here. What's funny is the fact that now that the Astros have clinched their division, they're not done yet because they're still trying to get the bet. They're still trying to maintain that lead. I think they've got like a 6 or 7 game lead over the Yankees for the best record in the American League, which would give them home field. So Yankees are 88 and 58. Oh yeah, dude, no, that's embarrassing. That's a 9-game lead going into tonight, or an 8-game lead. But wow. So right now the Astros are beating the Rays 5-0. The Yankees are tied up at 1 against, who are they playing? The Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh, please let Pittsburgh beat New York at home. You know,
that would be
one of the things that I relish the most is not the fact that, now that the fact that like the doctors are surrounding the gurney and they've all but declared the Red Sox dead for the season, right? I mean, they're still doing CPR, but there's no mathematical probability there, right?
Yeah.
I love watching what the Yankees are doing, and they are absolutely just limping into the playoffs because they had, I think they had like a 14-game lead in the division at one point, and then they come rolling into the last month and a half of the season, and they just went on this just abysmal run. I mean, as it is right now, they're 6-4 out over their last 10. I mean, they're only 2 games above 500 on the road.
Right.
I'm just like, woo, wow. So I would love to see New York cough up the lead and lose the division and have to settle for a wild card spot. Because right now the Blue Jays are in second place in the AL East, and they're only 5.5 games back. Tampa Bay had this really huge charge coming into it, but then they kind of trailed off. And actually the Red Sox they're eliminated though, so they're officially eliminated. I'm looking at the E on the standings right now. So that's fine.
That's
Whatever.
gotta burn. That's gotta burn like fire.
You know what?
As a Rangers fan, I'm used to it by now.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sitting there looking, and and I find myself in the unique position to be like every other Red Sox fan across the world, and look at our team and go, well, our offense is not terrible. It's pitching.
Right.
Pitching, it's like you hear that soundbite, Goofy. Well, just put me in the butt, why don't you? I mean, our starting rotation, I mean, we got a couple of really good guys like Nathan Eovaldi, and then Chris Sale came back for like 2 games before he dislocated his finger. And I'm like, all right, would somebody put bubble wrap around this guy before he goes back out to the mound again? And then we still have James Paxton, who's under contract with us, but he hasn't played a game for us because he went under that, he had Tommy John surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we signed that guy 2 years ago.
Yep.
What the fuck? And I'm just like, where's this guy at? And our bullpen is horrendous. And like Ryan Brazier,
they didn't do any trade. Did they not do any trades this August? Because I thought
they did, and
did some trades that would have helped them out, and those trades aren't helping them out.
We gave Christian Vasquez to the Astros as part of a three-way trade.
Yeah, he was.
And
The
we got
first
it. We
baseman,
got it.
right?
We got a catcher. We got a catcher from the White Sox, and I'm like, ugh, what the hell, So you want to talk about salty? Okay, so the Astros clinched the division last night. I still follow Christian Vasquez on Instagram. So I get a notification that he's going live. He's going live from the clubhouse celebration inside the Astros locker room. And I'm sitting there going, bro, I mean, I'm happy for him. I want to see him win. I want to see him do well, but I want to see him do well in a Red Sox uniform.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, But all right, so the wild card has not been decided for the American League yet. I know that the Astros clinched a first round bye and they move on. They don't have to play in the wild card round. They move on to the divisional series.
Right. Yeah, they've already clinched.
So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this all plays out. I mean, because you and I both know, Chris, that it's not the best team that always wins. It's who gets hot at the right time.
Exactly.
I mean, you look at the Braves. You look at the Braves last year. The Braves, they got hot, right? The last month and a half of the season, and they won it all. So I mean, they just went on this incredibly huge hot streak run, and they weren't necessarily the best team. The best team out there on paper was the Dodgers.
Right.
And then when the Dodgers went by the wayside, the best team should have been the Astros. Now, much to my wife's chagrin, because she is a diehard Astros fan, and so is everybody else down here. But I relished it watching the Braves just absolutely destroy the Astros in Game 6 down here last year, especially when Soler hit that ball out of the park, because they had the sliding glass doors open at the top above the train tracks, and that pitch, I mean, like, that ball had a family and he murdered it. I'm just like, whew. All right, so now David's time to shine here. We're moving on to football news.
All right. The biggest thing that happened this weekend in football was the fight on the Buccaneers Saints game. Apparently,
Lattimore from the Saints was talking some shit to Tom Brady. Tom Brady gets in his face. The Tampa Bay offensive lineman shoves Lattimore, and then here comes Mike Evans off the top rope and just absolutely trucks Lattimore, and then he gets jumped on by like 5 other guys. And so really Mike Evans,
the only reason why I know this is because it was like lip readers had to read this to tell everybody what professional lip readers had to go over this footage just to tell everybody what he actually said. And I went over the footage, was like, he said, Tom Brady, it's Tom Brady. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, Mike Evans is talking to the officials.
He's like, professional.
It's Tom Brady. What do you?
I can do that.
What do you want me to do?
Verbatim. And
I'm not a professional lip reader, and I could tell you that that's what he said.
Yes.
But so him and Lattimore get ejected from the game.
What is it? Mike Evans.
Mike Evans was the only one that caught a penalty and a suspension.
Yeah. He's out for 1 game. So for his role of the fight. But in all reality, though, and this is just my opinion, and he was sticking up for his guy.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do.
If any one of you guys, was about to get in a fight and everything, and I could do a Superman punch, no pun intended with the shirt, but if I could do a quick Superman punch going in, no question.
I think he had that line planned. What do you think?
I did.
He did. I want to see his iPad. It's scripted in there. It's got to be.
It's
At one point in the podcast, mentioned Superman punch.
Yeah.
But in all reality, I would ask questions afterwards. It's like, why did I punch that guy?
No.
But that's how it would be. And that's
Yeah,
how
but
any like
When you
mark my
listen to
words.
Trey development, though, you're not just going to stand back and let your teammate get bumped like that.
Oh God, no.
Right, exactly. So mark my words, though. This is going to be one of the more defining moments in the Tampa Bay season, and it's going to do more to bring them together and to solidify that chemistry that they may be lacking in other places. It's going to bring the entire team together. It's going to be kind of a rallying cry, so to speak. And you watch. I mean, Tom Brady's most likely headed for divorce. He's
What was
what
is up with that? This is the first.
Okay, so he gets Wednesdays off as a veteran / personal time. He gets a day off in the middle of the week, right? So
Okay.
I think Giselle is just kind of tired of him playing football. And everybody's like,
He
look,
only works like 5 months out of the year.
Yeah, she didn't want him back in the first place. It's like, you were done, you were out.
Yeah.
And now you're back in again. Like, no, I've had it. This was supposed to be my time now.
yeah, well, see, and here's the thing. I mean, I get her side of the argument. But on the other hand, being
for
devil's
sure.
advocate, it's like, okay, you're getting what you want. You want him around, but do you want him being around and being miserable?
Exactly. Especially if he still has some time left in him. Like he's still
he's got plenty left in the tank. I mean,
exactly.
those absolute, like, okay, so when he shows up in Dallas, he's never lost to Dallas, and he's throwing absolute missiles.
Oh yeah.
And then he goes into New Orleans last week. He's beaten New Orleans in the playoffs, but he's never beaten them during the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
He manages to pull that off. Now, the defense bailed him out, true. However, the offense still needs to show up.
Right.
And, so.
I mean, they did show up kind of.
A win is a win.
Exactly.
I mean, and Peyton Manning will be the first one to tell you that. I mean, the Super Bowl that he won in Denver, he was like, I mean, he even commented on it at the ESPYs when they asked him to host it. He goes, unlike Tom Brady, I do know what it's like to have my defense carry me to a title, And I mean, so it's like, okay, but I mean, at this point, does Tom Brady have anything to prove to the rest of the world? No. But I think him playing this year is Tom Brady proving something to himself. Is anybody going to be able to touch his Super Bowl records? No. I mean, as far as like appearances, wins, number of MVPs, no. I mean, hands down, Tom Brady is the personification of the GOAT. I mean, when you got the other actual GOAT in the world, Michael Jordan, talking about Tom Brady being the GOAT,
right?
Hands down. I mean, that's all.
Like, love him or hate him, you cannot deny his talent.
Yeah.
They're like, oh well, he deflated balls. Well, if you look at the stats from that game, his stats got better when the NFL reinflated the balls to regulation.
Right.
But it's like, okay, it's like, okay, I like Tim Tebow. Was he the best? No. Was he mediocre? Absolutely. But the reason why I like that guy is because he wears his convictions on his sleeve and he's genuine.
Exactly.
Tom Brady is very, very genuine, and he keeps private things close to the vest, which is the way I think it should be. He's the first one to show up to the complex. He's the last one to leave usually. And if they're having a bad day as a team, the entire team hears about it.
Yeah.
If Tom Brady is having a bad day, Tom Brady takes it out on a Surface Pad, tablet. But you see that absolutely definitive drive, that absolute desire to just go out there, rip people's heads off, shit down their necks, and screw their heads back on straight. And I mean, everybody's going to have arguments for and against themselves, but No, I think Tom Brady's out there doing what he needs to do. Now, I think the biggest story, one of the bigger stories, Trey Lance, quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, right? Starter. He's announced the starter, Jimmy Garoppolo, who led them to the playoffs and to the NFC Championship game last season. Not only did he go through the ups and downs of, well, am I going to get re-signed? Am I going to go sign somewhere else? Well, I'm going to get signed, but I'm going to get signed as a backup because they brought this Trey Lance kid in as the next incarnation of Steve Young, right? So what's Trey Lance do? He goes to a strip club and he makes it rain. What happens to him in the game? He blows out his ankle, or I mean, he had a leg injury, so it was either his knee or his ankle. I can't remember which, but he gets carted off, and here comes Jimmy Garoppolo. He comes in, he's like, "All right, I'm not going to sit there and pull my shirt open and show my Superman crest, but we know,
Metaphorically, that's exactly what I'm doing.
yeah, metaphorically, right." But I think one of the funniest games. I mean, did you guys watch the Buffalo Tennessee game last night?
No, I was cramped up.
Tennessee went up to Buffalo to play on Monday night. Stephon Diggs, wide receiver for the Bills, caught 3 touchdowns last night. The Bills embarrassed the Tennessee Titans on national television 41-7.
Jesus.
Tennessee,
I mean, but still, I'm like,
at least put up some kind of fight.
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia was all over the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, but I'm like, that 41-7. Ooh.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah,
but
games like that usually they only have that kind of a big score and everything. Like if you're in college and everything, and you rarely see those in the
right. These are professionals playing a professional level game. I mean, the only saving grace that Tennessee had was Derrick Henry when he made that like 4-yard scramble up the middle to score a touchdown on the ground. Tennessee's got a lot of work to do. And then Dallas finally cracks the win column yesterday.
Yeah, they actually did really good. And I was
in the first half.
Yes,
they played the first half really good.
Dallas, they either played the first half really good or the last half. They can't play the whole game. It's you got to pick or choose. It's a half.
Now I'll tell you what.
It was still 20-3. So
well, here's the thing. I had Cincinnati to win this game just because Joe Burrow comes in off of a really bad opener. Everybody's like, all right, Super Bowl hangover should be done with now. He got sacked, 6 times yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Or Monday or Sunday?
Yeah.
6 times. 3 of those, 3 or was it 3 of those or 4 of those?
It's because Chris wasn't there.
That's what it was. We didn't have any Black Rifle coffee there. That's what it was.
Yeah.
My fault. My bad. That's my bad.
You should have left some when you left the first time.
We do actually. We have the kiosks open upstairs.
Yeah, I know. But I was just saying,
we didn't give any to the team. That's where we fucked up.
Which one of you fuckers spiked it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, but Micah Parsons, dude. I mean, he had 2 sacks.
Yeah.
Leighton Vander Esch had 1 sack. Dante Fowler had a sack. Dorrance Armstrong had a sack. I'm just like, ooh.
There was a little kid in a wheelchair. He had a sack.
Dude, I mean, they could have put Bobby Boucher in there. And he'd have done, he would have done the Captain Insano, poke him right in the eye. But I mean, Joe Burrows.
That's good.
Joe Burrows Sunday afternoon, Joe Burrow spent more time on his back
Yep.
than certain females that you and I know, David. You know, I mean, we're not going to mention any names, but
We all have those problems. That's why we're all here and we're all friends.
right.
Why are y'all friends?
Yeah,
All right. Well, okay. I'll say this. Joe Burrow's he's had more time on his back Sunday afternoon than a lot of the Oscar Foxtrot people that we talk about on our other shows.
I was gonna go with the fact of I was gonna hand him divorce papers.
Dude.
I felt that bad. I was like, I might as well divorce. You're not even married to him. Oh yeah, right.
But you want to know something about Joe Burrow's? He handled it with class, and he had a face that was straighter than some of the poles that the women in Wichita Falls dance on.
This is true.
So,
I mean,
are
close
so
to like
Cincinnati. Okay, so with the exception of the field goal that Dallas kicked in the fourth quarter, they were absolutely going nowhere, doing nothing. The Cincinnati defense made the adjustments that they needed to make. And I mean, so it was 17-3 at the end of the half, right? Come out of halftime, Cincinnati puts up a pair of field goals in the third quarter. Dallas doesn't do anything. And then Cincinnati, what did they do? They scored a touchdown and went for 2, right? Is that, if I remember correctly? They put up 8 points in the fourth quarter, and then Dallas only puts up a field goal, and it's like, I mean, if they hadn't been able to do that, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at another Colts Texans game where it ends in a tie at the end of overtime? I mean, you know, Cowboy Nation, fine, great. I have a Van Der Esch jersey. My wife is a Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboys fan by default. But
it always
I
and I'm a
I have to side with a lot of the haters where I'm just like, I don't want to hear we damn boys because we ain't shit right now. You know, and it's like, what does a Cowboys fan do after watching their team win the Super Bowl? No. It's not turn off the Xbox. It's pull the VHS tape out of the fucking VCR. Because that's the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. It was when their highlight film was put on a tape, a VHS tape, and it was sold as part of the Sports Illustrated subscription package. You know,
I still like that TikTok video that's going around. The Cowboys found a white substance. They couldn't figure out what it was.
Right. Yes, and it was the goal line. Right. Yeah.
Goal line, and since none of them were gonna make it there anyways. Yeah.
It's like that. It's that old joke, right? It's the you know, this kid, he was beat and he was malnourished and he was kept in a closet, and then CPS comes in and they take the kid and his parents to court, and they're trying to figure out what to do with this kid. And you know, so the aunts and uncles are just as bad as the parents are, if not worse. The grandparents all have like indecency with child, you know, charges, so that's a no-go.
They go.
So the judge ultimately awards the kid or the Dallas Cowboys the, you know, custody of the kid
They can't beat anybody.
because they can't beat anybody, you know. I mean, I've got a joke for the Yankees too. It's like, how many Yankees fans does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
0, because they're all too busy standing around talking about how great the old one was. And I have said that to Yankees fans at the ballpark, and they look at me and they've got that glint in their eye. They want to look at you, be like, motherfucker, but they look at you and they're like, you know what?
But he's not.
You're right. You're right. You're out of line, but you're not wrong.
Or
you know,
she's a 10, but she's a Cowboys fan. And it's like, well, she's not expecting a ring, so you should be good.
Right.
Damn it.
You know, I mean, but and now coming out of that game, what I will pull from that game as far as kind of sort of being a positive, Cooper Rush probably outperformed everybody in the nation's expectations of it. You know, and all the while Jerry Jones is sitting up there going, "Yeah, I told you I was right." No, fucker, I think you got lucky. You know,
Yeah,
because
it was one of those things. I mean, I literally told you last week. I was like, I don't, because you picked the Bengals, and I was like, I could see it because Prescott is out because of broke hand. I think Chris has something to do with it. It's just one of my things.
now,
I'm blaming someone that was
That
actually
doesn't mean
there.
all the bad shit is my fault.
I do
right
believe you
now,
went
what's
at
going to
him.
be interesting is it's going to see, all right, how do the Cowboys handle this? Because they're going to New York to the Meadowlands on Monday night to play the 2-0 Giants. That's a divisional game.
I don't think Cowboys might not make that one. I mean,
It depends on what version of the defense shows up with Dallas.
yes,
If the defense that showed up that played last week or this past Sunday,
Oh yeah.
if they show up and Micah Parsons goes absolutely batshit crazy and he's got DeMarcus Lawrence along with him.
If he's
I mean, they were throwing packages.
train,
Now,
he's
Chris, did you
good.
see this where they were lining Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence up on the same side?
Chris?
No, you didn't see that. I didn't watch it.
I did. I actually had my kids this weekend, so I didn't get a lot of.
Oh, so all right, I get it. So you were doing
Dad stuff.
you were doing hot dad shit, right? I got you.
Dad
All right,
stuff.
hot dad stay. Okay, all right. So I'm not going to put these picks on our Facebook page. If you want to write these down and post them yourself, David, go for it. I just don't want to take the time to do it, at least not in this half of the season. So we're looking at the Ravens at Patriots. Now, the Ravens ended up losing in a grand fashion. They had a huge lead against the Dolphins. The Dolphins come back and actually beat the Ravens. So they're 1-1 versus the Patriots, who are 1-1 also, because the Patriots finally cracked the win column against the Steelers. I'm going to go with the Ravens on that one.
I agree.
Now, the Jets, who also cracked the win column last weekend, are hosting the Bengals, who are 0-2. Now, I think the Bengals finally get their act together, and they're going to beat the Jets. I know, that's a little bit of a no-brainer.
Of course.
Now, the 0-2 Raiders at the 0-2 Titans. Now, if we ever wanted to have the textbook definition of mediocrity, okay, the offensive line for the Las Vegas Raiders cannot protect Derek Carr to save their lives this year. They've proved it 2 weeks in a row, but I think that they're going to figure it out, and then they're going to beat the Titans in Tennessee. The Titans are going to go to 0-3. Raiders are going to win that game. That's just my take. Now, the Eagles at the Washington DC Commanders, because obviously even the Washington Commanders thinks that they're in Washington State.
So they don't even know where they are.
Dude,
Right,
I got so fucking confused. I was not even fucking joking. We went over this last episode. I was like, dude, you know what I just
Did you see where the Commanders had like coffee cups with the
those coffee mugs
on it?
Yeah. Chris sent me this. I was like, okay. I literally in my head, I was like, okay, they made merchandise for their team. Big deal, Chris. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's like Washington, D.C., Washington Commanders.
And they're in Maryland. They play in Maryland.
And I felt so fucking stupid after that. It just goes out how much football I do not know.
Right. So now we're talking Philadelphia, who is 2-0 versus the Washington District of Columbia Commanders.
Gotta go Philly.
Yeah, I'm going Philly on that one. Absolutely. I mean, because they've got the brand new branding, they've got the new logos, the new uniforms. that doesn't help you when your front office doesn't give you the tools to win games.
Exactly. They're still
So
they're still the Redskins. Like, let's not.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna
Let's not
call a
split
spade a
hairs.
spade. So we're gonna take Philadelphia on that one. Now the Jaguars of Jacksonville going into Los Angeles to play the Chargers. Both of them host a 1-1 record, but I'm taking the Chargers on that one because it's a home game. And well, let's face it, Lawrence is just not all he's cracked up to be. I mean, once he realizes that he's not playing backyard ball at Auburn, there's nowhere else for him to go. So
He really doesn't do any kind of well.
he's not. I mean,
he'll have his moments and everything, and then as soon as it literally is the way you described it. It's like a switch, and he's like, boop.
well, I mean, he's lining up and he's trying to. I mean, and he's decent. He does a decent job at recognizing defensive packages, lining up on the other side of the ball. What he doesn't do a good job of, he doesn't do his checkdowns.
No,
I mean, he either goes first check down or I'm running it. And he doesn't look at any of his other receivers. And I mean, for a kid who was drafted on his legs, he doesn't use them very well. And I don't know. It just with the system that he came out of, and at the time when he was drafted under Urban Meyer, I think that the days of the one-dimensional mobile quarterback are kind of done. You know, when you get a quarterback that comes in and all he's good for is his legs, put a pair of receiving gloves on him and make his ass a tight end.
Exactly.
You know, so we're going to take the Chargers in that one. Now the Rams versus the Cardinals. That one's a little bit of a toss-up. I think that the Rams have a little bit of an advantage in that particular game, but I don't.
I think the
I
Cardinals.
wouldn't.
It might be slim, but the Cardinals are going to actually take it.
Do you think the Cardinals are going to take that one?
The reason
why?
The reason why on that one is because last game it just goes to show that the whole God, the fucking drugs. They were slacking a lot on the game. It's like what is it? The Super Bowl once they win once someone wins the Super Bowl, they lack a little bit.
Well, I mean, you're talking about Super Bowl hangover now.
Yeah.
Usually that usually lasts about a week. And it's like you see the defending Super Bowl champions come into the opener and
this is funny right here.
okay.
Looking at the screen, because I see you looking down at him, and I'm looking down at him like he's like.
So
I'm
right,
like,
yeah.
It's
like a really twisted Brady Bunch opening.
Yeah.
You know, except Mr. Brady needs to be in between two dudes as opposed to next to his wife, but you know, it's whatever. Oh, then you see Alice, the maid. She's got over there. She's got a tourniquet on her arm, and she's sitting there doing this thing here. Like, Alice, what are you doing? Figuring out a way to put up with y'all, you know. But
they've actually.
Oh, okay. So Kyler Murray,
a little bit.
Kyler Murray may come in to this game because they figured it out last week. So I think. Well, actually, no, they lost last week. Didn't
They lost last week. That's when I was.
Yeah, they did. They did. They lost last week. So either they're going to have a really good week at practice because the coach should have, and by all intents and purposes, needs to break his foot off in their rear end. I think the Rams are going to come in. I think the Rams are going to win this one by a field goal.
No,
it's going to become a kicker's
They won
duel.
last week. They won.
It's going to. I know, but it's going to become a.
31.
But still, it's going to be a kicker's duel.
Okay.
Okay, because the Rams' offensive line is not that good. If it wasn't for Cooper Kupp, they would be completely and totally one-dimensional.
Okay, yeah, I can
hands
see.
down. So I think it's going to be a kicker's duel. I think the Rams are going to come out on top by a field goal. So then we're going to move on to the Falcons, who are 0-2 versus the 1-1 Seahawks. They're playing in Seattle in the House of Boom. As much as I despise the Seahawks, I think the Seahawks are going to take this one. The 12th man's going to show up, and they're going to just the Falcons aren't going to know what to do.
Yep.
Even though the Falcons play in that nice Mercedes-Benz stadium down in Atlanta, it doesn't get nearly as loud there. It didn't even get that loud during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to Seattle, it's an open air stadium, and they on the regular top out over 110 decibels.
Yep.
Damn.
So
that is the loudest stadium.
it is, yeah. Now we've got the 1-1 Packers at the Buccaneers. That one's hard, man.
Yeah, because they're both actually pretty.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one to Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady is going to beat Aaron Rodgers again.
I think that's what.
And then you're going to see this. Aaron Rodgers is going to pull his hair back in his man bun, and he's going to get in front of the camera for the post-game interview, and he's going to be like, "Well, we've obviously got some things to work on." I mean, you gotta hand it to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. They came to play. They're a great team across the way, but we've got some things to do. And he's going to do everything but congratulate them on the win. And you're going to take everything away from his post-game speech in the media center as saying, we beat ourselves.
No, what's going to happen? He's going to pull a Mike Epps. That's a new thing now we can do. He's going to just mouth off and say, "Well, it's Tom Brady. What do you expect me to do?"
Well, okay. So the only reason why the Packers won, the only reason why the Packers won is because they got a BS call for a touchdown. I saw a meme on Reddit yesterday or today. It was like, "Are you sure that was a touchdown?" And it showed the referee doing the Lambo leap. Okay. So yeah.
Subtle.
Yeah, it's like, it's just real subtle there. But so Sunday night's game is going to be the 49ers at the Broncos. So the 49ers are going to take Jimmy G. They're going to go face Russell Wilson in the Mile High Stadium. I'm going to give that one to the Broncos. I'm going to give that one to the Broncos because Russell Wilson, he's just too good of a quarterback to keep to just one touchdown a game.
Yep.
He's going to go off. He's going to throw for 3 touchdowns. He might throw a pick on that Sunday night, but the Broncos are going to come out and they're over the 49ers.
Okay.
The game that we missed is the Steelers are going to go into Cleveland. I'm taking the Steelers all the way. Yep. Because the Browns are going to be the Browns. They're like, we got our win versus our old quarterback. Well, your old quarterback didn't have an offensive line or a defense to come show up for him. And you almost lost that game.
Yep.
So I'm going to take the Steelers. The Steelers are going to go into the doghouse and they're going to quiet the place down. In fact, by the third quarter, you're going to start seeing Cleveland fans leaving the stadium.
Blowout.
Mark it an 8, dude.
Yeah. We don't the court. When's the court date for his
Don't know, don't care. Haven't heard any updates. Well, actually his appeal went to mediation. And remember, we had talked about this. Roger Goodell appointed a former New Jersey state attorney general as the special counsel who has acted on behalf of the NFL front office as special counsel before. Deshaun Johnson was suspended for 11 games. He went from a 6-game suspension to an 11-game suspension and was ordered to pay like $2 million.
I thought it was 5.
Or maybe 5. Yeah, it's like $5 million, but he's got an 11-game suspension.
Did you hear anything about this? The John what the fuck is his name? Watson? The
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, yeah. Yeah, okay, so Deshaun Watson, he was a quarterback down here for the Texans, and he had like 24 different counts of sexual misconduct from massage therapists, right? the grand jury here in Houston failed to bring him charges, and they no-billed it because they didn't have compelling enough evidence, right? So he immediately leaves town, gets traded to Cleveland. Cleveland offers him like
$250 million.
yeah, $250 million contract, right? Huge guaranteed money up front. And then somebody else steps forward, and then somebody else steps forward, and then somebody else steps forward. And even though there was no criminal charges brought forward, all these massage therapists, all these victims started filing civil suits against him. And then it started coming out that he was tampering, or that his lawyers were tampering, or something along those lines. And instead of settling out of court with these ladies, the NFL stepped in and said, all right, he violated the behavior, or the behavior and conduct policy. They suspended him initially for 6 games with no fine. And then he said, oh, I'm going to appeal that. He started the last game of the preseason. Got booed off the field, and then went to mediation, and his suspension went from 6 games to 11. So he's not coming back until week 12.
Yeah.
And when he does come back, if he's expecting to get the Michael Vick treatment where people are going to boo him but then cheer him on, because let's just face it, that's what people in Philadelphia do. He's got another thing coming, because Deshaun Watson's just a piece of garbage. I mean, he's a cockwomble. That's one of our terms. But
I like
so, all right, now before we get into NASCAR news real quick, which there is some to go over, I am going to you get to be privy to this, man. This is going to be great. I'm going to give my son a call, and we're going to do our favorite segment. So give me just a second here.
This is a joke time with Colin.
Hey, bud.
Hi.
Hey, you ready?
You're upside.
Yeah. See, no, I wasn't upside down. You were. But all right. So I'll let you know when your intro is ready. Okay. All right. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angry faithful of all ages, it's that time once again. We all gather around the campfire, get a tin cup full of hot coffee, whiskey, maybe a little bit of both. But it's joke time with Colin.
Didn't
All right,
hear any of that.
What's the difference between Paul Walker and Betty White? Paul Walker made it to 100 before he died.
Oh
my God.
fuck. Oh, he's not wrong. I mean, he's wrong. He's not
No,
wrong.
I need the Noel. I need the Bob Ross bad
Okay. All right. Where did Colin touch you?
It's right.
Touched you.
Where?
The whole,
right there in the no-no
whole
square.
damn thing. Right.
Okay, right
The
there.
whole thing.
Right there, did he?
It's right there.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. That was awesome. Did you have a good day today?
That was a good one. That was good.
Did you have a good day today, bud?
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you guys a call tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
All right. Love you, buddy.
Love you.
Later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all
Are
ages.
you using your laptop to FaceTime him?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cutting off your mic, and for some ungodly reason, it's
Well, yeah, because it cuts off the mic because the FaceTime plays over the laptop speakers.
Oh, okay.
So you're able to still hear him, obviously. But until we get him set up on Zoom where we can bring him in.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
now the outro that was so rudely interrupted. Looking at you, David. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, that is my genetic code on display for your eyes and your ear holes. I hope that you feasted well and that you were left wet, sloppy, and put away, very used and disheveled. That was joke time with Colin.
I think I would.
That's literally my genetic code on display, everybody. That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
All right, so
Talk about
NASCAR
that.
news, the playoffs. We've just finished the round of 16. We've moved into the round of 12. We've got 19 different winners this year. It tied a record for all-time season high for number of different winners over the course of a season. Oddly enough, the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, the first 3 races of the playoffs did not see a playoff winner or driver win a race. They're all 3 winners during this first round of 16 were non-playoff drivers. Now, does this count towards their career total? Yes. Does this help them out as far as moving up in points? Yes, but they don't get to race for the championship. Okay. So remember, after when the playoffs start, it's only the top 16 drivers in points and wins they get to qualify for the chase.
Yeah.
Okay. So Christopher Buescher from Texas won the Cup Series race at Bristol on Saturday night. It was a Saturday night Bristol under the lights type race. Man, Chase Elliott was charging hard. I thought he was going to pull it off. If he had maybe a couple more laps, he might have pulled that off. But man, that was a good race to watch. Kyle Busch made his announcement. He is leaving Joe Gibbs Racing at the end of this season, and next year is taking over driving responsibilities for the number 8 car for Richard Childress Racing.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and on the Xfinity side, the Black Rifle Coffee driver Noah Gragson has won 3 races in a row.
He has been tearing it up.
Oh, he has been on fire, and I love this kid. And you know, about 2 months ago, 2.5, almost 3 months ago, I mean, people were talking about how he was immature, and you know, he was getting. I mean, he was at Road America over there in Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and he deliberately wrecked somebody and it cost him points. And you know, Kelly Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. pulled him aside at JR Motorsports, and they were like, "Look, bro," and they had to talk with him. And I was listening to it, and I was listening to Dale Jr.'s download earlier this week, and they were talking about Noah Gragson, and he had even made the observation. He was like, "Look, man, I mean, here you are, like this kid, even like 2 months ago, was just like, what are you doing? Intentionally wrecking people. Now, I mean, he looks more cup ready than any of the other drivers."
Yep.
You know, so, and I just hate the fact that he shotguns White Claw. You know, because
Gotta come down.
Dale Jr. when Dale Jr. went to the
yeah, he shotguns the 300s before the race. He's got to come back down somehow. So
Yeah.
he's got a counter effect.
right, yeah, exactly. So, but like, you know, because I mean, Dale Jr. was like, "You're going to drink this beer with me," and he's like, "I don't like beer." Well, I don't care. Hold the beer up like you're drinking it. We're getting this picture. He says, "I got my picture."
Just do the Steve Austin thing and just let it run out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
It's exactly.
yeah. But I mean, it's just White Claw. I mean, at the very least, drink like
it's
Busch
mostly
latte.
water. Yeah, it's mostly water, anyways.
Right. Get a Coors Light. It's basically water.
Oh, I tell you what, and you need to talk to Evan Aver about this, or whoever is in charge of creative design, but come out with an alcoholic coffee beverage.
I mean, we're all down for it, of course. And they actually do. So actually in the stadiums, at the Cowboys Stadium, they actually do alcoholic drinks out of those kiosks there.
Oh.
See, then they need to package that. They need to
We don't
market that.
for sure.
Sell it to the
we don't
grocery
have,
store.
Yeah,
I mean, it's bad enough that that Black Rifle stuff is put in cheaper bags and it's sold
Well,
at Walmart.
they also have like
Yeah, I have no comment on
they also have like Letzlinger too.
Yeah, well, that belongs to JT.
Yeah.
Leslinger is JT.
Yeah.
But,
So,
I mean,
but
there's
as far as like under the Black Rifle brand,
Yeah.
they need to have, even if they do,
100% like a hard coffee.
yeah, hard coffee, do a hard coffee seltzer or something. I don't care. Get into that market. And then that way, whenever Noah Gragson wins a race,
he can shotgun that at the end
he
of the
could
race.
shotgun a Black Rifle hard drink,
Oh,
hard
100%.
coffee on national TV in Victory Lane.
And finally,
You know,
like somewhat of a man.
right?
White Claw. At least make it a hard as fuck from the drinking bros.
Yeah,
At least
twist
make that, 'cause there's still
Yeah.
some
Right.
Yeah.
like anything but White Claws, man. Mike's hard lemonade even would be better than.
But I mean, I would love.
know-
Okay,
I don't know
now
what it
I
is
don't know
about
if you've
White
got any
Claw.
inside information on this, Chris. But like, okay, so let's just say that Noah Gragson qualifies for the championship race in Phoenix. I'm willing to bet that not only does the owner of Bass Pro Shop show up in Phoenix, but I'm willing to bet that Evan, JT, Matt, they're all going to fly out there. Because if they've got a chance to stand in championship Victory Lane,
I don't see their schedules and all that, but I would be very surprised. I can almost guarantee we would probably end up having an events team out there and then having them somewhere in the winner's circle would be, oh hell yeah.
I could see JT
I'd
doing
be very surprised if they didn't ever show up.
I could see JT doing it only because he's really into. I mean, he's a fucking
dude.
drunk,
I could see
you know?
JT wanting to get in the pace car, man. That would be awesome. Have JT sit in the pace car.
Oh, did you see the that Justin Nunley
Nunley or whatever? Yeah.
Okay, did you see his NASCAR TikTok from
Yes,
over the
I did.
weekend? He was in the pace car at Bristol. He didn't get to
saw
drive.
that.
So the NASCAR official is driving, and he's like, "Don't touch the radio. Don't touch the radio." And Justin's over there going, "Well, Aaron Tipton said Aaron Tipton's not driving this pace car. I am. Stay off the radio." You know, and I'm like, "Oh, I know where he was going with that." You know, because there's a song Aaron Tipton had out. Is "It Ain't Nothing Wrong with the Radio." And you know, because I mean, I would halfway expect him to get on the radio and be like, "Listen, did you know?"
that's what I was expecting when he turned it on, to have his voice come out of it and say something stupid like that. That was
yeah, you know, but I
he's
would love
actually
to
a
have
friend
that.
of Black Rifle Coffee, so I could see
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, he's wearing his.
Yeah, he wears his shit all the time.
Yeah, he wears that stuff all the time. He wears Bucky stuff all the time.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this guy knows.
I think he's where is he at? I forget. I thought I've found out.
I would love to find out if he's down here anywhere. I would. I would absolutely love that. I know he's in Texas. Because
I just don't know if he's in
the amount of Bucky's gear he's got.
Yeah,
but I mean, for a guy that, I mean, like his videos, they weren't in the car. It started out like, "Hey, honey, do you want to hear a joke?" And she's like, "No." He says, "I don't really care." You know, and I was like, I've been following this guy since then, and I'm like,
right. Yeah, he'd be knocking on her door because she's a teacher. He'd be knocking on her door in the classroom.
yeah.
Hey, I got to be like, I'm busy. What do you want?
Right, exactly. But it's going to be the NASCAR, the Xfinity guys and the Cup guys are going to be in Texas this weekend for the first race of the round of 12. Man, I wish I had tickets to go.
That's
dude.
That's gonna be
yeah.
The cars and the drivers.
And with this new car, dude, it's hard to nail down. So I mean, obviously Chase Elliott, who's won there, Kyle Larson, who's won there, Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin are going to be the favorites going into this race. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Joey Logano is not in the playoffs anymore. I think. Let me verify that real quick.
Well, since
Oh no, Joey Logano is second. And what sucks is because he didn't even finish the race on Saturday. But I don't know, there it is. So we're looking at the top 12 drivers right now. The number 2 of Austin Cindric. Now, I saw a TikTok video that kind of brought up a really good point. Austin Cindric was just below the cut line Saturday for a majority of the race. And the only person in front of him was Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch had to retire because his car broke, right? And there was really no way for Austin Cindric to advance in the playoffs unless, unless the cars started dropping out of the race, right? So what's Joey Logano do? He's safe. He's already considered advanced, right? Something mysteriously happens with his car and he has to retire. He pulls it into the garage. So that takes one more car off the track. That advanced Austin Cindric up one more position and put him above the cut line and eliminated Kyle Busch from the playoffs.
really,
So Penske's out there manipulating playoff races.
Sounds like it.
that's
Yeah. But you're not going to be able to ever prove that. You
really
and
can't.
I mean, you can't. I mean, even if they were able to prove it, I don't know that NASCAR's got any rule that says anything about it. I mean, other than the
It's almost as bad as going up to work and he's like, you know what? Most of that stuff's already done. I'm gonna go ahead and jet and go home.
yeah,
Still gonna pay. You're still gonna pay, but
we've got Austin Cindric in 12th,
I mean,
Daniel Suarez.
that would more or less be a sponsored type deal because he's not out there doing the sponsorship, driving around and everything like that. So it would
again, that goes back to having to prove it. Now they do record all of the in-car audio via radio communications, but what's not monitored by NASCAR are the private channels that the teams use exclusively. Because they've got 2 different radios in those cars. The scanner channel that the fans are able to listen to is monitored by NASCAR and it's also recorded by NASCAR, but the teams also have a private channel as well.
Yeah.
Now, unless you know what those private channel frequencies are, you're not going to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
So
it would more or less have to be he would have to fuck up royally.
yeah, I mean, he would have had to have a hot mic moment or something like that. But Daniel Suarez, he's in the 11th spot right now. Alex Bowman, who drives a 48 Chevy Ally Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports, he's in the 10th position. Chase Briscoe, who drives the 14 car for Stewart Haas Racing, he's in 9th. You got Ryan Blaney, a Penske driver who drives the number 12 Menards Mustang. He's in the 8th position. Christopher Bell, I'm kind of excited and happy for this kid. He had a great car for a majority of the night on Saturday. Just the tires went away and something broke. So, I mean, the way that the speeds that this new car is allowing these drivers to carry off into the corners is putting a lot of load on that back right rear tire, and it was causing a lot of tire issues over the course of the race Saturday night. Danny Hamlin, who is the Joe Gibbs entry, he's in the number 6 position. William Byron, who drives the 24 Liberty University Alaxta Camaro for Hendrick Motorsports, he's in the 5th position. Kyle Larson, your defending champion, is seated 4th right now. Ross Chastain, who drives the number 1 car for Trackhouse Racing, he's in the number 3 position. And then you got Joey Logano, who I could care less about. I am not a Logano fan at all. I'm more of a Kyle Busch fan than I am a Joey Logano fan, and I'm an Earnhardt guy. I mean, hello, right? So he's in the 2nd position. Then you got Chase Elliott, who drives the number 9 Hooters car for Napa Camaro for Hendrick Motorsports. He's seated 1st right now. And see, whenever the new rounds start, they reset those drivers' points to like the 3,000 point mark, and whatever bonus points that you get for stage wins, stage finishes, victories. A victory guarantees you an advance into the next round. Finishing positions, things like that. That's how they dictate the pecking order going into either the next race or the next round. But I really think unless in this round that's coming up, the round of 12, it has got a very, very diverse set of tracks. So let me see here. This so we're at Texas Motor Speedway. It's an intermediate 1.5-mile track, right? We're talking 24-degree banking in the turns, pretty flat back stretch. And then you've got that dog leg left, front tri-oval, right? Going into after Texas, they go to Talladega. Talladega, 2.5 miles, 33-degree banking in the turns, straight long back stretch. The back stretch is almost a mile long by itself. And then you're coming out of turn 4, you've got a short little straightaway before you hit that front tri-oval. And the start finish line is almost all the way down there to going into turn 1. Talladega, restrictor plate track. And that's kind of a misnomer. They don't use restrictor plates anymore because they don't use carburetors. They use fuel injection on these cars, but they do dial back the airflow on these cars, reducing horsepower to keep the speeds at a more safe distance, safe limit. But still it's so you've got an intermediate track, a super speedway, and then the last race of this particular round before they go into the round of 8 is the Charlotte Motor Speedway road course, or the Charlotte Roval. And the way they call it the Roval because they use the road course on the inside part of the track, but that also comes out onto the back, up onto the racing surface itself. And they spend just as much time distance-wise on the track part than they do the road course part. And it's funny because the Charlotte Roval turn 1, man, you want to talk about calamity corner. It's like they forget what the brake pedal is when they go into that turn, or when the entire pack is starting, on a restart, and then you get all 42 cars or all 40 cars jamming in trying to make that corner, and they're all bouncing off each other, using the other cars as a pick to make that turn. And man, it's a fun race to watch. I really think that NASCAR needs to get away from these road courses. I mean, because they're just saturating. Next year, they're doing a road course race in Chicago.
What?
Downtown Chicago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, and I saw it on Reddit. It was a beautiful meme. You remember the NASCAR race cars, the 48 and the 88 car the 8 car rather that were in the second Transformers movie.
Mm-hmm.
They were all gunned up and everything like that.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, NASCAR's getting ready for the Chicago road race, and I'm like, that's hilarious, right? I mean, the longest, straightest part of the track. Yeah, the longest, straightest part of the course is going down Lakeshore Drive before they cut back in through downtown. And I'm just like, how are they going to provide for the safety of the fans? Because damn well that there's going to be at least one NASCAR team that's going to get fucking robbed. They're going to go back to their hauler, and that shit's going to be on the blocks.
or what? This is what's going to happen. Okay, I already got this pictured. One of the guys that steals tires and everything just accidentally hits in there, and he makes it. He changes the tires faster than anybody else on the crew and everything that they hire him.
Which is saying a lot, because those one lug. Now, if they were smart, they'd hit up the Xfinity Series guys instead of the Cup guys, because the Cup guys use a single center lug nut versus the Xfinity guys, which use the traditional 5 lug nuts. I mean, those thunder guns that they use on those pit stops turn at 10,000 RPM.
Jesus.
God damn.
Those guns run anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000 by themselves.
Oh, there'll be three of them missing.
And they are controlled by NASCAR. They do not. When they went to this new wheel with the new car, they took the guns away from all of the teams. Now the teams do get a gun that they have to sign, and it's serial numbered. They have to pay for that gun from NASCAR for pit crew practices at their team, team facilities, right? But they each have a serial number, and they have to be accounted for by NASCAR every year, right? And so the reason why they did that is just like everything else. If you're a racer, you're going to try to find an edge. And you had teams pouring millions of dollars into engine R&D, body fabrication, air tunnels, aerodynamic testing, downforce. They even went as far as to figure out, I mean, you had teams spending millions of dollars trying to figure out how to get the most out of a Thunder gun.
Wow.
I mean, some of these Thunder guns were turning at close to 15 to 20,000 RPM.
Golly.
Just to get that extra 3/4 of a second on a pit stop.
Yep.
So, I'm like sitting there going, oh man, that's oh wow. But then, okay, so after the Roval, the first race from the round of 8, they're going back to an intermediate track. They're going out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and then they're going to the flattest track. And it's a favorite of a lot of guys. It's Miami Homestead. They used to host championship weekend at the end of the season, but a couple of years ago they switched to the championship race from Miami Homestead all the way out to Phoenix. I'm like, okay. And then they're going short track racing, dude. They're going to Martinsville, Virginia for the last race of that round before the cutoff. So so next round, you got your 3 races. You got Las Vegas, Miami, and then you've got Martinsville. And then the top 4 drivers after Martinsville move on to Phoenix to race at Phoenix Raceway. Yeah, I mean, if in November on the 6th is the championship race, and Chase Elliott knows how to get around that track. So does Kyle Larson. I think the wild card that's going to be the consistent throughout the course of these playoffs is this new car, because this is the first season that they fielded the next gen car. I mean, they're still trying to figure out shit about this car that they didn't even think of during the test, the 2 or 3 years that they used to develop this car. More recently, it was the now on the front, that grill that you see up front, that is all open. The teams are not allowed to put any tape on that front grill to provide downforce, right? What that front grill serves to do is it serves to have air move through the car over the brakes, to help the brakes cool. It's also the bottom of that car is completely enclosed. It's a carbon fiber shelf that completely encloses the bottom of that car. So you got a lot of airflow that goes through there. And they've got these diffusers on the back of the car that help provide downforce, right? And it makes the air more turbulent behind the car. It helps discourage things like bump drafting over longer distances and things like that.
Yeah.
So what was happening, Kevin Harvick, they were at Darlington, and his car caught on fire, like straight up burned, right? And he was like, this is a safety issue. Like, my brakes went out and my car burned. What the hell, right? Fire was coming in the cockpit, and he had to extract himself, right? So what they did is they went in and they figured it out. They took that car to the tech center in Nashville and in Charlotte, and they examined the car. They tore it apart, and they were like, all right, why did this do what it did? And what they found out is that rubber debris, chunks of rubber that are coming off the tire, right? And it's just laying on the track, usually at the top of the track, sometimes at the bottom of the track, depending on what groove the guys are running at. It's getting in that grill and it's being pushed, right? So it comes in through the grill and then it goes out, right? And it goes out and then along the door panels of the car. Now, what it does is that air passes through a fan that is there that fan's designed to cool the brakes, right? Because they got these huge brake packages on these cars to get them from anywhere from 200 miles an hour down to pit road speed,
Yeah.
and it's got to happen very quickly. So they have to run big rotors, big pads, big calipers, right? And that all that heat's got to go somewhere. And so to help dissipate that and to keep the brakes from popping beads on the top on the rims, they got to cool the brakes. So what that fan started doing is it started picking up some of these chunks of rubber and blowing it onto the exhaust headers.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So what NASCAR decided to tell everybody to start doing is, okay, you still can't put anything over that grill, but we want you to put a plate just behind that grill that is higher than the bracing of that carbon fiber shell, right? So what that does is that gives the rubber a place to build up right in front of that plate, but it's still high enough where the rubber can't build up and go over, but the air still can flow. So they're going to continue to learn and they're going to continue to hone and I mean, they're not going to pass over things because NASCAR, since Dale Earnhardt Sr. died, Adam Petty, with the Ryan Newman wreck a couple of years ago at the Daytona 500, they're constantly trying to improve the safety of these race cars. So that became instantly mandatory. Every team had to have that on there. And so, I mean, the drivers are starting to point out other inconsistencies and other concerns with the car and stuff that's not necessarily safety minded, but it's more of a, hey, we understand why you wanted it this way, but it's making the racing A, B, and C versus what you intended. And so, like the rear splitter, it's like incredibly stiff. And I mean, for those cars, they had to have, those rear spoilers are made out of clear Lexan now. And that's so that way the drivers can see behind them. Now they've got the analog mirror in the car, but on the dashboard, they also have a video display, like a video monitor that's shaped like a rear view mirror, but it's mounted to the dash. So they've got a rear facing camera on all of those cars now. It's kind of like those new C8 Corvettes. It's got, how they're slung low. So, and the front's real slung low, but the top or the back end sticks up a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So it's like a huge blind spot. So if you look at the top of those new Corvettes, they've got a digital camera built in to that radio mast that's at the top.
Yeah.
And instead of a rear view mirror, a traditional rear view mirror, it's got a video display that is played in real time so you can see what's going on behind you. Yeah. So, so that camera plays real-time video images for the drivers to make those on track decisions. I mean, obviously they've got their spotters in the stands and things like that, but
being able to put your own eyes on it is a lot different.
Yeah. I mean, you're able to put your own eyes on it. And
I wonder if there's a sound difference between having all that rubber in there that maybe they could tell, because I do that a lot. I mean,
no, not necessarily.
Drive around.
Now, if you look at the way that the inside of a NASCAR race car is set up, those seats are bolted to the floor pans.
Yeah.
There's no suspension on those seats.
Right.
And then you hear the term drive by the seat of your pants. And that's what these drivers are literally doing. They're sitting in a seat, a carbon fiber shell that's bolted to the floor pan, and they can feel through the different vibrations and sensations in the car what's going on. Like, okay, if I'm coming through a turn, is my car plowing? Is it loose? Is it, is it tight? What's the rear end doing? And they're able to tell what tire is going low, based just on solely how it feels on their ass.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you see, like, okay, so just before they come back to green flag racing and they're on a caution lap or something, you see those drivers jerk their wheels from side to side and they're going back and forth like that. What they're doing is they're scrubbing their tires and they're cleaning their tires off of all the crap that they've picked up from the track.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because what happens is with those racing tires, as they're going through those turns, they're laying rubber into those turns, into the track, and they're built, they're establishing multiple racing grooves. Now, just by sheer centrifugal force and wind that comes off of those cars, what it does is it pushes all of that rubber that comes off the tires to the top of the track. And that's called the marbles, right? So if a guy gets too high up, too high up on the track, you'll hear this term every once in a while. You specifically hear it at like Indianapolis, like during the 500. You'll hear a guy got up in the marbles. That's what happens.
Oh, okay.
He's got these racing slicks on, and they have to have heat in those tires for the rubber to get sticky.
Yep.
So, and then they don't use traditional air in those tires. They use nitrogen. Now you see a lot of cars, like road cars, street cars with the green valve caps. Oh, I've got nitrogen in my tires. That's great. But at the speeds that we drive and the distances that we drive and the frequency that we drive our cars, it really doesn't matter if we use nitrogen or not. It doesn't. We can use regular air and we get the same kind of ride. Now, the reason why they use nitrogen in racing tires is because nitrogen has a predictable and calculable, I hope that's a word. It is now. Moisture content.
We'll make it one.
Okay. So they can make adjustments to the way that a car handles by even making so much as a quarter pound of air adjustment in a racing tire on any one of the four corners of the car.
Oh, nice.
So, like say if a guy needs more speed at a restart, then, they know it's going to be a short run. They'll call them in, they'll put brand new tires on, but they may put like a pound or a pound and a half of air in the tire just to make the tires harder. So that way the tires come up to temp a lot faster.
Mhm.
And it gives, they're going to burn that tire up quicker, just because of the speeds and the handling that's going to provide the tire to make. But they're doing it over a shorter run versus, okay, well, I'm too loose at, on the green flag. What they do is they may take like air out of the tire, like I said, even so much as even a quarter pound. And that'll affect, instead of being loose through the turn, IndyCar drivers and Formula One drivers, they talk about it being oversteer, where, you turn and then you can feel the rear end kind of kick out a little bit, or maybe the front end plows a little bit and you feel like your car's moving up the track. What they'll do is they'll take air out of the tire and it'll make that adjustment when they turn the wheel. The load, instead of being on the left front, goes to the right rear, and you've got more of a spring rate that you can calculate because of the moisture content that is in nitrogen versus oxygen or air, compressed air. You can adjust the handling on a car just using air adjustments on a tire. Those thunder guns that they use on the pit stops, those are also powered with nitrogen, because Chris, the air gun's worst enemy is moisture, right? Nitrogen is inherently dry.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and they're able to maintain those higher RPMs for longer, specifically because they use nitrogen on those air guns.
Right.
So, and it's like when people sit there and they watch a NASCAR race, like usually for the first couple of times, they get bored, fall asleep during the race. It's like, oh, they're just driving left, turning fast, or driving fast, turning left, rather.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and you go to a live race and do yourself a favor, David, especially if it, like, even go to like the short track out there by the prison.
Yeah.
Okay. Go out there on Friday nights and just watch the racing out there.
Oh,
Okay.
I have.
Okay. If they have the ability to let you listen to whatever radio chatters might be going on, especially at a NASCAR event, you can go and you can rent scanners, or you can buy a scanner yourself. And when you go to a race, you go up to Racing Electronics merchandise trailer, and they give you a list of radio frequencies for the different drivers in the field that day.
Yeah.
Right. You can tune your radio scanner into that team's channel, and you can listen to their entire conversation during the race. It's between the spotter, the crew chief, and the driver.
Yeah.
Okay. And you get so much more of an insight as to how technical racing is and how much more technical racing has become, because now these cars have forced drivers to actually drive the cars, and that's the part that I like the most about it. But you've got engineers out there trying to figure out, okay, we know that the car, let's just put it this way: the tire tech alone has got at least an associate's degree in engineering. And he's just out there calculating air pressures versus tire life, because those holes that you see that go across the tread of like a racing tire. All right, what they do is they take a micrometer and they sink it into one of those holes, right? It measures tread life, just like if you go to Discount Tire and they measure the tread life on your street tire, same principle. Now, what they do is they'll go out there with a blowtorch and a scraper, and they'll burn off the marbles across that pad, across the tread, so they can accurately measure how much wear that tire had left.
Okay, yeah.
And based on, based on what the tire's doing, they may be able, they can make adjustments to make the tires last longer. They can tell the driver, hey, your right rear is wearing out faster than the other three. So, here, based on your lap times and how far you are out in head, you may be able to slow down through that particular corner, make better lap times, and not wear your tires out as much. Try to find a different line. We can adjust the handling. Instead of riding the top, you can maybe ride the bottom a little bit. It's less of a load on your right rear tire. There's a lot of different things that go into it. You can hear the driver complaining about the car. You can hear the driver complaining about other people on the track. Hear the spotters talk about how, their door bumper clear. You got a guy up high. You got a guy down low. You got a guy like you hear a lot of talk at like restrictor plate tracks like Daytona, Atlanta Motor Speedway now, and Talladega. They're talking about like, okay, well, you got the outside line and the inside line. They're coming. You might want to go ahead and make a move. And there's just so much that goes on over the course of a single lap. And then you put that over the course of 500 or 400 miles or however long that particular race is, and it takes your enjoyment of that racing experience up to another level, because now you understand that, yeah, we know on TV that it's a team sport, because without the pit crew, without the crew chief, that driver's out there going to run out of gas, right? But the driver does a lot of the work. The driver does a majority of the work. He's out there making moves on the racetrack. He's the one actually wheeling the car. He's the one that's giving the feedback to his crew chief so they can make the appropriate adjustments to make that car the best that they can make it over the course of that particular race. But I've been watching NASCAR for years. I've always been an Earnhardt guy. On Sundays, watch that black number 3 go around the track with my dad. And then Junior started coming up through the ranks and started rooting for Junior. And then when Senior died, obviously Junior is my boy, right? And now that he's in the Hall of Fame and, he's got his own race team on the Xfinity side, listen to his Dale Jr. download. I'm telling you, man, it's informative. It's eye-opening, and it's just overall it's entertaining. It really is.
We're trying to get someone from his little group.
Yeah, I'm really working on that. I don't know, maybe you could help us out, Chris, because I know that you don't work specifically for the brand itself, but they do sponsor the number 9 car. So maybe, you could point me in the right direction, because I've sent an email to JR Motorsports to try that approach.
Well, let's give it a little bit of clarity on this. What it is we want to get a lot of information of the new but renewing of racetrack. What's the racetrack called?
Oh, North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, they're bringing back North.
Yeah, well, they had a North Wilkesboro used to run. It was a regular part of the schedule back in the 90s. And then the racetrack just kind of died. Right. NASCAR left it, and it was being grown over. Dale Jr.'s flying over the track on his way to Las Vegas to do a TV broadcast, and he emails or texts the owner of iRacing, or no, the owner of North Wilkesboro, right? And he's like, "Hey man, I want to scan North Wilkesboro into iRacing." He's like, "Well, man, if you want to get out there and clean that track up, you go right on ahead." And so Junior tweets out on Twitter on his normal feed, "Hey, we got this opportunity to scan North Wilkesboro into iRacing. We just need some help." So they set up a date, and people showed up. It was wet, rainy, it was miserably cold. It was in February. They went out there with weed eaters, wheelbarrows, front end loaders, and they cleaned the track off. Right. I mean, there's guys out there with blowtorches blowing, burning stuff that was growing up through the track. And they scanned it into the game. And it was one of the more popular tracks that was like being downloaded and raced on. People were like, "Man, this is awesome." And then so Dale Jr. decided to run a grassroots movement, got a hold of the owner of North Wilkesboro and said, "Hey, let's bring this track back to life. Let's get some racing done on it." And it culminated with a month of asphalt racing at North Wilkesboro to be capped off with a Cars Tour event that Dale Jr. himself was going to race in. It was a super modified event.
Yeah.
Right. Or a street stock event. Right. And Junior gets out there. I mean, he announces that he's going to run his number 3 Sundrop car that Junior Motorsports is going to field, because they've got a driver, 2 drivers in the Cars Tour. And so Junior gets out there and he's like, "Man, I'm nervous." He hadn't run a modified in 20 years. And so he's like, "Man, but this is North Wilkesboro." So, he gets out there. He doesn't think he's going to do all that great. He qualifies 6th and finishes the race in 3rd. And he had led it at one point and had a chance to win it at the end of the race.
Nice.
But they had 20,000 people in the seats for that race.
Nice.
And so NASCAR comes out, because at the end of that race, they were going to tear out all the asphalt and they were going to make it a dirt track, run it as a dirt track for one month, and then they were going to repave it. Right. NASCAR comes out like 2 or 3 days after that modified event that Dale Jr. finished 3rd in. And they announced that they want to move the All-Star race from Texas Motor Speedway to North Wilkesboro. And that included the Cup guys, the Xfinity guys, and the trucks.
Yeah.
So All-Star Weekend's going to have all three major national touring series there at the race for that night, or for that weekend rather. And it's going to culminate in the Cup race, the Cup Stars, Cup All-Stars race that Saturday night or Sunday night, I think. But that's mind-blowing. Like, I mean, I listened to his download and I hear him talk about it, and I heard his Q&As, but I just want to pick his brain,
Right.
And I don't want to bring up stuff about his dad or anything like that, because he hears enough of that.
That's been done to death. Yeah.
And he goes over it enough on his show, and that's not why. I mean, yeah, I'm being honest. I want him on the show for clout, but we just call spade a spade, right? So,
Right.
but I want to pick his brain about this, because I hear him talk about other tracks that he wished would come back, like Metrolina, that his family had a lot of history at Metrolina, but Metrolina's not there anymore. It's gone. There's a building where the track used to be. But like, I just want to pick his brain. I just want to kind of get not so much inside his head, but I want to be able to just talk with him and to me, that would just kind of be like, it would be kind of along the same lines of maybe getting like David Ortiz to come on the show, kind of a thing. It's
Right.
like
Top tier.
top tier. We're talking legends of the sport. And I mean, Dale Jr. may not be the GOAT, but as far as NASCAR racing is concerned, that's reserved for his dad, Richard Petty, and Jimmy Johnson, the only 3 7-time champions. But I mean, I rooted for the guy for as long as I can remember, and I've been an Earnhardt guy for as long as I've been watching racing. And I want at least somebody from JR Motorsports to come over, maybe even Mike Davis, who's his co-host on the Dale Jr. Download, to at least zoom in, kind of a thing. But I don't know if you know any kind of ways to get to that back door. Hey, fine. I'm not putting pressure on you.
I can start, asking around and see if there's something I can help out with. For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Bring that on.
I mean, there's
But,
not like there's a whole group of people in your company that's done black bag fucking things, right?
And there's David coming in from
Oh,
the
I mean,
top
if we're
row.
talking black ops, like we can make that happen. I'm not.
I'm talking about the going into a van, grabbing.
All I'm
somebody
saying is, I
with a
know some
black bag.
guys.
So that would require both of you getting on a private plane and flying down here
You don't
to an
fucking
undisclosed
pay for that
location.
shit, bull.
Like they pull up in a van at a beach house down there in Surfside Beach, and we've got a beach house, where we got the internet and everything. Like
I'm not saying
they
I
rip
know how to do this.
the burlap sack off his head. He's like, man, where the hell am I? I'm like, my daughter's both my kids got school in the morning. Like,
It's not like I know how to do it, but one, you don't use a plane.
Right. Tail numbers are too identifiable.
2, you rent, and you make sure you rent with cash, or some other. You just steal a car.
knowing who we know owns the company and what he used to do for a living.
I'll
I'm
just-
sure that he can. I'm sure.
We don't know.
I am more than sure that he can make those types of calls to get air travel included. I mean,
he did. I mean,
I'm
I
not
did
saying
like
I'm
that
not
one
saying he's
episode
the
where-
guy to go to. I'm not saying he's the guy that'll get things done. But David and I did have an idea for a brand new Black Rifle coffee product called Cream Pie, and nobody ran with it.
Okay. In the old days,
And the artwork on the bag would have been a coffee bean with some like cream dripping out of the crack in the bean,
dude, in the old days, that probably would have flown.
But now we're
would be
proper
public,
and we're on the
we
New York
could-
Stock Exchange. We
We're
got
the
eyes on us.
kinder, gentler Black Rifle now.
Right.
Remember that one time?
Although we do have an ECS called the Beaver Destroyer, so you never know.
That was actually pretty good.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
And then this latest one, we had the Black Magic.
That was-
messed up some people.
I've changed my billing address twice since I moved in my new house. And I've 4 times I've gotten an email from Black Rifle talking about how there's a problem with my shipment. And I'm like, everything works right. I don't know what's going on. I've gone into the app like several times.
Have you called in to customer service?
You have to call them in, dude.
Okay.
Listen,
well, I will call. Knowing my luck, it'll still be
David,
that.
send
It'll be
me-
that one guy that I get all the time. That he's a White Sox fan and he gives me shit for being a Red Sox fan.
No, give me when we're done here. Shoot, send me your info. Give me your the email address that's on there, and I will. I know people in customer service. I'll reach out to them and.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
set up.
So yeah, after we
I'll get you set
conclude
up.
filming or whatever, I'll give you the 411 on it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
guys, it's coming up on 9:30. I've got a jumper in the door, and I'd like to go take care of that.
Yeah, and I gotta piss, and everybody knows right now that if I don't take a fucking piss,
Dude, you've got a bottle right there on your desk.
dude, I don't want it to shoot through the goddamn fucking bottle.
We'll just hear
You've been
them.
smoking that you're gonna pull. Yeah. Are you gonna piss that hot, bro? I mean, or is it is it just because you're like a pressure washer? The smaller the opening, the hotter the jet.
Yes. Well,
Well, with that,
Well,
he's running
the
the
sandblaster now with a pebble in there.
Yeah.
He's running the red tip. That's what he's doing.
It's almost as bad. I just thought about it. Is if I do have if I do have, you know, the water bottle and I'm using the water bottle and everything, and I just
Mhm.
and you just hear I was like, what was that? Suppressor.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I've seen
right.
what you use for a suppressor too, so we're not going there.
Everybody's seen what I
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you got your information on that one, dude, but that one particular version, that model really shafted you.
I know, right?
But
Anyways,
Wait a minute, wait. It's like, okay. Anyway, so all right. Well, hey man, dude, I had a blast with you on the show, dude.
great.
I'm down for this threesome again. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. I've already told David, like, anytime you guys want me on, man, just reach out to me. If I'm available, I'll jump in. Like,
Absolutely, man.
I have
All
fun.
right. Well,
and
that being said,
the
I'm
shortest.
Johnny Skelton.
I'm David Dickerman.
I am Chris Jacka.
And
you
one last thing is
go ahead.
to help out Chris a little bit since he's on the show. Go to brccfund.org. Donate to their fund there. Black Rifle Coffee does have a fund that helps out a lot of people. That's how we got in contact with Chris and a lot of other interesting folks for charity events. Thank you all for listening and watching as you can. And
This is Nerd Sports episode number 75.
you're just supposed to hit the button. Or did you hit the button and it didn't do anything?
That button.
God, it doesn't do anything.
I did. No, it did. No, yes, it does.
I didn't hear anything. Chris, did you hear anything?
I did not hear anything.
Yeah.
You didn't hear? Really?
Yes.
So is it just in my ear again? I swear.
We're professional.
That one?
Semi-professional.
Oh.
No.
Then
Yeah,
do you find the victory button? I have a button here, and when I hit it, it says victory. You know, I bet you it's going to show up on the post.
It probably is. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching, listening. Talk to y'all
Later.